Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. Sean Payton was featured in Albert Breer's MMQB today over at SI.com. If you want to give it a look, you can. And it was interesting because part of what they talked about was the discussion in replacing Drew Brees with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. And in part, Payton also talks about life without Drew Brees and what it's going to be like. And in the piece there at SI, Sean Payton says, we're not there yet because we haven't had any practices. We haven't turned around with something coming up where we're like, that's something Drew would have handled. We haven't had that moment yet. Payton goes on to say, I'm sure there'll be a few of them, but it's a young team. That's what's exciting. I think it'll be different the first time we have an OTA, the first time we have a mini camp, or the first time we get into training camp. It hasn't hit you quite yet because you haven't done anything football related. You're involved in draft work, free agent work. I'm sure there'll be a couple of stages to it where it's the first meeting, first practice, first so on. It's a great point. All of the firsts are kind of like finals. Like whenever you have the final game here or there. In many instances, that comes about when someone announces their retirement beforehand, and so you have the farewell tour. I remember if you're an LSU fan, you'll remember this when Jim Hawthorne, the legendary announcer, announced his retirement. He had like 7 farewells. It was the last game he called at Alec Box Stadium, and then the last baseball game he would ever call, and the last game for LSU football, and the last game in Tiger Stadium, and the last game at the PMAC. And it was like he had like 6 final, right? Brees didn't get any of that. So you didn't get all of those moments, but you're going to have all of the firsts without him, like Sean Payton talked about. You're going to have the first practice where 9 ain't out there. You're going to have the first quarterback meeting where 9 isn't in the meeting. You're going to have your first preseason game where 9 isn't taking the first snap. You're going to have your first regular season game, and so on. All of those firsts are going to happen, and we'll all experience those together. The team, the coaches will, the fans will also, because Drew Brees has just been an integral part of our lives for so long. So the big question is, who will it be, Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston? I think you all know where I stand on that, and logically where most people do. But this was so interesting over the weekend for several reasons. CBS Sports HQ tweeted over the weekend a little factoid, a little nugget. And it read, only one player in NFL history has a career completion percentage of at least 70% with a minimum of 100 pass attempts. And then in all caps, they write, Taysom Hill. And there's a picture of Taysom. Now, that's only where this starts to get kind of weird, because, Paul, can you go back to that for a second? Because if you look here, I'll zoom in, you'll see they tagged me in the photo. Me and 9 others in the photo. What's maybe even more interesting is when you look at who's tagged in the photos, it's like Taysom Hill, the New Orleans Saints, BYU football, Cam Jordan, Thomas Morstead, the Saints News Network, and me. Hey, I've arrived. Hey, but they didn't even tag Jameis in there.
How'd you get in that room?
I don't know. Hey, Mike Triplett, eat your heart out. Hey, Larry Holder, you ain't tagged in there, bruh. Jeff Duncan, Cat Terrell, what up, everybody? Bobby Hebert, where you at? Zach Shreve, I don't see you in there.
Detillier?
Mike D, how the hell did I get tagged? Was that a mistake?
I don't know.
Was there another Matt M that they were aiming for?
I don't know.
Or did they just go look at all the YouTube videos we posted of me talking about Jameis, and they thought this was a good opportunity to troll me? But the crazy thing about it, Brain, is when you look at this post now, over the weekend, this thing has now been, hang on, let me get the exact stats on it. It has been liked 2,400 times, It has been retweeted 309 times, and it's got 34 comments. I needed to turn my notifications on Twitter off this weekend. My phone was blinging all weekend because CBS verified CBS Sports account tagged me in this picture of Taysom Hill in this stupid graphic, which, by the way, maybe the most asinine troll job you could possibly think of, to actually say that Taysom Hill is somehow the most accurate quarterback in NFL history because he's got a completion percentage of at least 70 with a minimum of 100 attempts. Never mind the fact that he's got just over 100 attempts in his career. And there were seasons where Brees had 600 attempts and still completed better than 70% for that season. And all the while, Taysom Hill's deep balls look like high school football punts, okay? Let's not get it twisted what we're looking at here. That's a hell of a troll job. It was a really nice job of bringing attention to your Twitter account and something absolutely absurd. But that's what Twitter's for, right? Mostly?
Always.
Mostly?
Maybe not always, but mostly, yes.
Did you see my tweet over the weekend about LSU baseball?
No.
I said, hey, LSU might be 1-8 in the SEC, but let's focus on what really matters. They're undefeated in midweek games. I love Twitter so much. Whew. I love Twitter. For what it's worth, PointsBet has unveiled projected win totals for the upcoming NFL season. Now, keep in mind also, this is going to be a 17-game season. You care to take a guess, Brain? A stab? Projected win total by PointsBet. This is after the first few weeks of free agency. Still haven't had the draft yet, but care to take a stab where they have the Saints?
9-8.
What projected win total?
9.
Paul? Projected win total?
Probably 9.
Nailed it. 9. Got him at 9. Tampa Bay leading the way in the entirety of the NFL at 11.5 over-under. Still odd to see 17 games. But yeah, they're basically projecting the Saints to be a 9-8 football team this coming season. See what work they might be able to do. The Panthers, now keep in mind, this was before the Sam Darnold trade. 7.5, Falcons at 7. So Saints looking up at the defending champs. But I always say, look, we talk about this every year. It's not just who you play, but when and where you play them. Remember, you've got the AFC and NFC East this year. So you're going to play the Bills and the Dolphins at home, and you have to go to the Jets and the Patriots. Now, playing the Jets and the Patriots, I mean, the Jets, you'll likely be going up against a rookie quarterback there, but the real challenge is, what if you end up playing those games in November or December and you're in cold weather? Or does that even matter as much? The reason we talked about it mattering so much was because dome team, Drew Brees, older, didn't have a strong enough arm. Like, you put Drew Brees outdoors in the cold in November and December, maybe with a younger guy with a cannon for an arm, it doesn't matter as much. We'll see. Maybe that narrative goes away. But nonetheless, I'll be excited, certainly, about the rest of free agency, about the draft, about the schedule release as we get closer to the start of the NFL season. Just keep in mind, on the most accurate quarterback. Keep an eye on the most accurate quarterback in NFL history, Taysom Hill. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.